how exciting. It's the mixed media box kit time. Let's have a look. Let's get right in here. Ooh, look at this. Wow. So we've got some giant tags. Ooh, always love some giant tags. Oh, and we've got some little reinforcers as well. Oh, what's this? Vintage gloss glaze. This is brand spanking new. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Waited so long to have this, but we made it happen. New colours. New colours, beautifully mixed by me. Thank you very much. So we have Happy Pink. Look at that colour. We have Thundercloud. Yummy. And Unicorn Poo. Woohoo! You can tell I'm excited, can't you? Some grab and go. Love loads of this. Some slap it on matte and some G So Good black gesso. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay. Oh, we've also got an additional brand new stencil. Love that. That would be great with the tags. Okay. Oh, some more reinforcers like that. Okay, let's get this baby out. Ooh, and we've got some ephemera, some original ephemera, which is great. Love that. Some ledger paper and some original music paper, and it looks like we've got some more in there. Fantastic. Okay, so what else have we got here? So we have a tray. We have a really thick baseboard, and we've got these blocks which match all of these letterpress. Oh, this is going to be so good. There's also going to be a A4 folder, well, an A4 sheet with lots of lovely inspiration for you from the design team, and also a QR code to watch this video. Okay, so you will have seen that already. And a letter from us. Okay, so that's the unboxing. So let's get cracking, shall we? Let's just do one video on making the tray up and everything. So all these can just get popped out of here. So this is just our normal type of thickness. You don't need this. Okay. Oh, I quite like these shapes. Okay, I'm going to save that. And then these just fit beautifully on here. It's going to be a tray, and this is why we need our grab and go. Okay, so when you get a brand new grab and go, you have to take the whole lid off because it's got a stopper in it here, so that when it travels around the world, it doesn't become sick and spew up everywhere. There we go. So you just take that top off, put it in your recycling, and put the top back on. Okay. And this is specially formulated for the Medite. The Medite is a type of MDF that we prefer because it is a much greener alternative to medium density fiberboard, the MDF. So I'm putting a little bit of glue on these edges here and on the little tabs as well, and then I basically line it up and just fold it up and just close the door. Okay, and I know I've got far too much glue on there. Let me come down a little bit so you can see that better. I know I've got far too much on there, but there is method in my madness. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the same here. But this time I need to make sure that I get this little tab here. Okay, there's a little tab just there, and I put just, you don't need as much as this. A little goes a long way, but I'm always a bit heavy-handed. So, and then you just, as I say, close the door on that and just make sure those corners are nice and tightly together. And because I am right-handed, I'm turning it round every time. And as I say, just putting those dots on there. And again, just, oops, wrong one. On the tab on this one as well. Can you see I've got a tab there? Whoops. And then line it up and then just close the door. And just make sure that corner is in nice and tight. And the reason why I said it was the wrong one, because I had two outies and not, and obviously an innie goes with an outie. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this one off, the last one. Dot. And on the tabs. So line it up, slide it in like that, and then just close the door. And give it a little bit of a wiggle on those corners. Just make sure those corners are in and nice and tight, okay? And then the reason why I give myself plenty on here is so that I can just get a damp brush and just clean up all the excess. But it just, I know I don't need to, but it just gives me a sort of sense of security that all of that is really nicely held together like that. And then clean your brush in water, just plain cold water, otherwise you're going to ruin your brush. And I'm just going to take the excess glue off there. Close the lid and then just give that a wipe. There we go. So closing the lid, you just twist the top. See the nipple there? You just twist it until the nipple disappears and then it's open. And then to close it, you just twist it back until the nipple comes up, and that pushes out any excess glue in that little bit, and then it never gets gunged up. Okay, so that's your grab and go. All right, so that's your tray. If you wanted to, you can put a little bit of tape around those corners until they have actually set. But I don't, I just think those are going to look fabulous. Right, so put that to one side. Now, this is your baseboard. It's on really thick Medite, okay? And then these squares fit these letterpress or faux letterpress perfectly, okay? So if I pop these out, just, you can see that that goes on there. Oh, my lovely little heart. Sorry about the sighing in the background. That's Daisy having a lovely time. And that goes on there. I think I might use my fingers aren't that strong, you see. What can I use? Oh, my brush. Just to get these out. Okay, don't forget where they are, okay? So 8 goes there, 5 goes there. My ampersand, which is the biggest one. Oh, I've got a nice big K as well. So that goes up in the top corner there. That's nice, like that. My X is here. So the lovely thing about this is that we've actually got these building blocks for you. So it means that yes, you can have them all at the same height like this, or you can change them round and you can have them at different heights. Right, where did A go? So T goes there, R goes there, A goes there, and then we have the lovely ampersand that goes there, and a nice little number 2, and that goes there. Lovely. And a fleur-de-lis. Okay, and that goes there. So we've got them all in position. You can take this outer one out now, and then it's up to you how you want to do it. So I would keep this to one side so that you can actually see exactly where everything does go. All right. So on cue. Like this. 5 goes there. Number 2, 4, 8. W. There we are. Heart. W. 6. T. Whoops. 4 goes that way around. And then, of course, we've got our little 2 and our fleur-de-lis. Okay, so that's it all out of the frame. Of course, you can use the frame for another project if you wanted to. Now you have to decide, do you want it all like this, all flat, or shall we move some of these blocks out? Say, for instance, let's drop that 8 down. Let's have maybe the W down there. Perhaps the 2, like so. Let's remove the X. How about the T? So you've got different heights. That, I think, is the same height as that. Ooh, so we could double that one up if we wanted. same size. That one would work really nicely. That's quite pleasing, isn't it? So, a bit difficult to see that. And then we've got the spare as well. So I wonder whether that is the sort of same. Ooh, it's the same as the 4. I could actually bring the 4 up as well. So that's even higher than the others. So that's a stroke of luck, isn't it? So wonder whether that's the wrong way around. I think that fits better. All right, yes, I'm happy with that. So that's rather good. Now, the question is, do you want to stick them all down now and then decorate them? Or do you want to stick them to the individual blocks and decorate them that way? I personally think it's going to be easier if I stick them all down first and do it that way. But there again. Anyway, whilst I'm faffing around, now that I know which ones are going where, I'm just going to get my grab and go and attach some of these. And again, I just need a damp brush just to clean up because I always put too much glue on. I know. No need to do that, but maybe I just need to just wipe a little bit off before I put them on. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to line these up and I'm going to put my 2 in. So I'm just making sure that these 2 are all flush, and I'm just going to put my 2 in like that. Okay, I'm trying to learn not to put too much grab and go on here. Okay, we might have to just speed this up a little bit. So now I haven't stuck down the blocks, I've just stuck down these. So let's just get this into the tray. There we go. That fits beautifully. That's lovely. So some of them are proud of the tray, which I really like. And I think what I might do is, oh, I haven't stuck the tea down. Let me stick the tea down. Okay, so the grab and go was designed especially for constructing an MDF. Did I stick this one down? No, I didn't. So it works particularly well with this. Okay, so let's pop this 8 down there. It's lovely. So you could stick them all in and then gesso everything, or we could just stick the flat ones down and take the blocks out. I personally think it's going to be easier for me if I take the big blocks out. So I think I might actually stick this to the tray as well. Yeah. And then I can pop it on the wall as well. So there should be some hooks in as well. If there's not, I'll make sure. If I haven't got them, they will be in your kit, don't worry. So that's good. That's lovely. Okay, so now I need to use my black gesso and give everything a thin coat of gesso. And that's it. So remember, I don't actually need to do all the base bits, to be honest. I just need to do these because I've got the blocks to cover this up. So come back in a few minutes when I've done this. So I've done all the gessoing, as you can see. So I've gessoed all of these and the edges, and I've just gessoed around these. So when they go in, obviously, they'll all be gessoed nicely. So before I start decorating that, I just want to do the edges here. And also, oh, I didn't do the back, did I? I also want to stick on some ephemera as well around the edges, just to add to it. So we've got some nice ledger paper. I like the fact that it's nice big sheets. We've got, oh, that's a nice texture with some small text on. And then we've got some music paper. So I think I'm going to use the music paper actually. to go around the edges. I think that would be cool. So I need to use the slap it on mat for this. Okay, so let's get this open. Pulled it a little bit too hard, so let's just take this off. So the slap it on mat will stick the paper to the MDF and it will go clear and matte afterwards. This is just a sample size to play with. So let's just get cracking on this. So I think I'll just use a pair of scissors, and I want the actual music bit. Okay, and how deep is that? Let's have a look. So, okay, so we probably want about two bits there. Okay, so that's good. So I'm not really measuring, I'm just going by eye. So I'm going to need quite a few strips to go all the way around. I don't know how many I've got there, around about 4 or 5. So let's see how we get on with those. All right, so I need my slap it on. So I need to put the slap it on actually on the surface of where I'm going to place the decoupage paper. But I also need, let's get some waste paper or something. I need to put that on the paper as well. And that'll soak in. And then I can attach this. Lovely. And then let's put some over the top as well. And that acts as a varnish as well. So that's cool. And let's just wrap that round the corner here. There we go. Okay, that's good. All right, next one. So let's go around here. And I'm going to tear this bit just so that we've got just music going around without any gaps. So let's go around here again, over the top with some more slap it on. Any excess I can just wrap around the edge there. And then that's it, just and so you want to use plenty of this so it soaks into the fabric of the paper, and then it will just stick nicely and it will wrap around. Okay, so let's go a little bit more around here. Next piece. So let's have this one. Again, lots on there. That's why it's called slap it on. Yes. Get loads on. Lovely. And again, a load over the top. This one doesn't want to stick down. That's because there's not enough Slap It On over it. There we go. That's nice. Let's get that stuck on around the corner. And then let's do this side now. Doesn't want to stand up. That can go up to here. And again, plenty over the top there. Nice, nice. Good, good. Okay, have I got any more? Oh, yes, I have. Which side should we go for? Let's go for this. And attach it here. Again, with plenty of Slap It On. And just use your brush just to smooth it all down. Oh, and last piece. Have I got another piece? Let's just do one more piece. And then that's going on there with, again, a load more Slap It On. So I do find that if I'm making something that's going on the wall, or if it's a box or something like that, I'm just going to tear that last piece off there so you get a soft edge just to stick down. I tend to just put another coat of Slap It On over the top just so that it acts as a sealant and a varnish, just to give you a nice finish. And any bits that seem to be bubbling up a little bit, that's just because we haven't got enough Slap It On there. So just put another coat of Slap It On. And any bits that don't fit exactly, I just push those round the back to give you a nice neat edge. There we go. And then I will probably then black gesso this. Have you noticed that I gave you a tiny little sample pot, and despite you doing all of that gessoing, you still got loads left? So just one coat is enough with this gesso. So I know it's the back, but I just think it looks nicer when it's all finished off. especially if you're going to give it as a present as well. Or, of course, if you're selling as well, making to sell. So I'm just using a flat brush so that I get the coverage, and it's a lot quicker. A lot of the time I use a kitchen sponge just to give a very quick coat if I'm looking to just do something so quickly. There we go. Just finish off these edges. And it doesn't matter that I've got slap it on my brush because it's an acrylic and so's the gesso. Okay, so that's that. Let me just clean my brush before I do anything. And let me just turn that around so that it's the correct way around. So you can see that that's the front, this is the back. And this is the hook that I was telling you about for actually hooking on. So you just pop out these two squares and this with a little notch in it. Then we're going to get some some grab and go on there. These are going to fit on here. So basically it's so that they stand off from the back. Far too much glue on there, Kay. Far too much glue. And I'm always saying you only need a little bit. I should listen to my own advice. Oh, does help if you turn it on. Okay, so then on these squares again, we are just going to put glue on and put that in the centre. Have I measured it? No, I haven't. Let me just 2.5, maybe over a wee bit. 3/4. Oh, I was fairly right. There we go. So you put that in the middle at the top. Obviously make sure it's the right way around, like that. And then you can put a little nail or a hook in the wall or wherever, and it will sit in that little nook there. And I've just washed my brush, but I could just put a tiny bit of black gesso on that just to finish that off. And no, it doesn't matter that it's all wet. It can all dry together, can't it? There we go. All right, so I'm just going to put that off to dry. Meanwhile, we will have a look at the Luscious. Okay, lovely Luscious. Let me just, my hands are a little bit of a wipe because I've got glue all over them. So, Luscious. This is a powder, very, very, very fine powder of grade A pigment, which is the colours that we use to mix into paints and everything really. So I've bought a really nice quality pigment, and then it's been mixed with mica powder, which gives it that lovely iridescence, that shimmer and that that shine as well. And then I've actually put a bonder in it so that it bonds to the surface that you're working on. I'm going to keep these, by the way, to use with my tags. And what I would like to do is, you can use these many different ways. So with them being a powder, you can actually mix them with your Slap It On. I'd recommend Slap It On Gloss, because then you're enhancing the glitter, the shine, the shimmer in that. You can add it to our Super Thick Slap It On. Super Thick Slap It On holds its shape. It is very thick, and it will dry clear, so then the colour of the luscious comes out. When you mix them together, they look fantastic, and you can use them through stencils, just like the new stencil that you've got here. You can use them just to create texture on your work. You can use your luscious also to colour. This is unicorn poo. Fantastic. You can use this to colour glazes, to colour clay, resin, lots and lots of different ways of using this. So I'm going to put mine mixed with water into a palette. This is available on our website. This is a Tim Holtz palette, and I just find that it's absolutely perfect for mixing this with water to create a watercolour paint. So what I've done is, I've got a wet brush, I've dipped my brush into water, okay, and then gone straight into the powder, and of course the powder will then, the luscious will stick to my brush. I then just put that in the palette and I just work that in like that. I scrape my brush on the side to get rid of all the paint, dip my brush in the water again, swirl it in the luscious, dip, swirl, and then mix, okay, and just work that in there. And if it gets a little bit on the dry side, you can just dip your brush in the water and just add more water. Look at that. Isn't that the most beautiful gold you have ever seen? It's really on the rich side, which is just beautiful. So again, I'm just scraping my brush on the side. I'm using a small brush, adding some more water. And you want the thickness of like a double cream. You know, so nice and juicy and thick. You don't want it thin and runny, because then you get the real lovely depth of colour from your luscious pigment. And because this has got a bond in it, a bonder, it means that this is actually going to stick to whatever you use it on or paint it onto. Oh, that's lovely. And then you can keep it in this palette, and then the water will evaporate and it'll go hard, and then the next time you want to use it, you just add a little bit more water onto the top, just like you would with any watercolour paint in a pan. So I'm just going to fill up this lovely palette here like that, and you just want to mix it until it's nice and smooth. And then once you've done that, you've got a lovely palette, you see. So the next one is Happy Pink, which is just, oh, look at this colour. It does make you happy, doesn't it? I'm, not really a pink person, but this is a beautiful, beautiful pink. So again, wet brush, swirl into the powder, and then mix it in your palette. Add a bit more water. scrape it along the edge, dip in water, swirl in the luscious. It's okay to put your wet brush directly into the powder and then just mix it. So this, like all of these three colours, are duotones. By that I mean that I've mixed different colours in with it. So when the light hits it, when it's dry, it will flash different colours. So with this pink, you will get a sort of blue purple flash with it, which is really lovely. And I think that's probably why I like this pink so much, because it has got that lovely sort of violet blue flash in it. So again, I'm just mixing a little bit at a time. You don't want to get a pile of the luscious powder and then dump some water in it, because it's like trying to mix flour and water. You need to do a little bit at a time. And there we go. You've got some gorgeous, lovely, happy pink there. Can't resist just doing a little bit more. But as I say, once this is done, you know, you're set up then with a lovely palette. And of course, you've got plenty to fill up. And I've just put the names on the lid, which I'll show you in a minute. So that's our lovely happy pink. Beautiful. And then for our silver, we have this beautiful, yeah, give it a little tap before you take the lid off, because they are quite full. And as I say, this is 25 ml. So normally with pigments, you'd only get like 5 ml, but we're giving you 25 so that you can use it for lots and lots of different things. Oh, look at this silver. Look at that. Oh my goodness, this is just gorgeous. This is a really sort of grey silver, erring on the side of maybe pewter. And again, wet brush, mix it in. I'm using obviously a small brush, which helps. Scrape it off the side. So wet brush, swirl it into your luscious powder. It's like magic, isn't it? Oh, that is just such a beautiful colour. I'm so pleased with that. So we mix these in-house. We get the raw materials and we manufacture these in-house. So they are really, really special, and it means that I can put lots of delicious quality pigments in these, and that's why they work so beautifully. There we go. So we've got a nice thick paste almost of thundercloud. Lovely. And as you can see, I've just put their names on the outside there so that you can see. And those are going to last for ages. Okay, right, let's put that to one side here, and let's bring in some of our blocks. Now, I did these separately, thinking that this would be the easiest way of decorating them. But I have to say, I think maybe it would have been easier to put them all in at the same time. So, but what I'm going to do, whilst that's drying, I'm just going to do a little bit of dry brushing on the base of some of these blocks. So I've got hardly any of my, because I've scraped off the majority of my thundercloud. Wow, this is a lovely silver. That is really nice. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting a dry brush and I'm holding it vertically like this, okay, and I'm just gently touching the surface just to give it that lovely sort of soft dry brush look. And if I just flick over the top, you see that, and just catch the edges, you get this really nice effect. So if I just do that with this one, see, I haven't gone back in yet into the Luscious. I think that's a little bit too much on the back, but hey ho, it was the first one. It's the first one. So with the heart, let's just do a tiny weeny bit on that one because I want that to be quite a solid happy pink, that one. And again, I've not gone in anymore. And I'm using quite a small brush. It's a flathead brush, and I'd say it's about less than a centimetre, about a centimetre, half an inch, or a third of an inch, something like that. So it's just, I think that's better than this one, which is quite heavy. But what I can do actually is just take some of this back with a wet wipe, I think. Let me just get my big brush on this, and let's just wipe that back a little bit. There we go. Right, so I've done those. Do I need any more on there? Let's see. Oh, no, it's still going. Still good. And that's interesting because there obviously is a little bit of pink left in my brush because it's mixing with the silver a little bit. Okay, so I think I'm going to need a tiny bit more. So I'm just going to dip my brush in and then take off the excess on a piece of paper. So I've just put a tiny tip of my brush again. I'm just brushing over the surface with, and it is literally a dry brush. It looks as if there's none on here at all. So this will give me quite a cohesive look with me going over with the thundercloud. And again, I'm just taking the tiniest tip of this. So this fleur-de-lis, a little bit heavier on this one. You can see that's looking a lot heavier. Just catching those edges. And look, my brush is, it does look absolutely spotless, doesn't it? Oops. Okay, tiny weeny bit, and then take the excess off on a piece of paper. My number 6. So we've got our basis there. And this is nearly dry. I'm just going to give that a quick blast. So let's do our dry brushing with Thundercloud on these colours then. So let's, these colours, these letterpress. Just going to do a little bit in the background there. And a little bit on the number 8. Looks like a infinity sign. Let's have a little bit on our X. It's a lovely shape, this one. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to put these in now. And if you forget where they go, of course, you've still got this, right, which will guide you as to where they were going. That's why I said keep hold of it. So, number 6. Oh, and it's looking really good, seeing as we've got different heights going on here, which is looking really, really good. Okay, so I'm not going to stick them down just yet. Right, so I definitely want my heart in quite a solid pink. So again, I'm just going to take a little bit and dry brush that. Again, I think it'd be easier if I just take that. And I'm just going to work that in. Oh, see, that is lovely. Maybe I'm actually going to do it solid. And then a little bit of dry brushing over the top. Because a heart has got to be really out there, hasn't it? Well, I want it to. So I'm just using a tiny weeny bit of luscious at a time. You don't need a lot. Oh, yeah, that's lovely. That is so nice. Yeah, so I will dry brush that a little bit more later. So let's have a little bit of dry brushing just on little bits, I think. Let's have a bit on our cue here. Let's have a good dollop over there. Oh, and we're getting a bit on our art. So let's have a little bit dry brushing over there. You see, you get such a lovely texture with dry brushing. Ooh, let's have a good dollop on our ampersand as well. So quite thick on here. Nice, okay. We haven't got any on our 8, so let's have a nice bit on our number 8 over here. Again, so I'm just doing exactly what I've done before, which is just a tiny bit on the brush. Just the tip of the brush there, taking the excess off. Let's have a bit on there. They're moving around because I haven't stuck them on yet, but I don't want to stick them on just in case I need to lift them up to get to different areas of them. You see, that's a little bit heavy-handed, isn't it? So that's what happens when you've got too much on your brush. Now, the fleur-de-lis, I want that in mostly gold to make that really stand out. Oh, that's so lovely, that unicorn poo. There we go. Oh, that is so nice, isn't it? Look how that just really sings. And then with the excess, I'm going to, let's have quite a dollop on the 4. And let's just touch some of the other letters and numbers with this gold. Wow, it's such a lovely colour, that. I'm so delighted with that. You know, I test with it when I'm making them, but to actually use it on a project like this with other colours is just stunning. So this 5 has got quite a heavy pink there, so I'm just going to try and rework that a little bit. That's good. Just going to bring that down a fraction. There we go. And let's do this letter K. So my brush is really completely dry now, and there's hardly any pigment coming off it now. But so let's just recharge my brush a little bit, take the excess off. Let's do a little bit more on here. Just remember to catch the edge of the frame as well. So this W seems to have got a little bit neglected down here, so let's do a bit here. And then I'm just going to do a little bit on the corner of heart as well. That's hardly showing up, but that's fine. Actually, I think I might just leave those completely solid because I think they look good to stand out like that. A little bit more gold. And I need to remember to change direction because I always tend to, with being right-handed, I always tend to do it all in the same direction. So I should remember just to change that up a little bit. All right, so I've gone round with the pink and the gold. Let's have a little bit of pink on that 4 there. So now I'm going to go back in with the thundercloud and just layer that on top. And again, just take the excess off on some paper or something. And then I'm just going to go a little bit over the top of some of this just to layer in. So some parts I'm going over the pink, some parts I'm going over the gold, or finding a little gap somewhere. Because the more you layer, the more texture you're going to get. One thing is just to play and just spend some time building up those layers. And you can see how the light just plays on these. So that's quite heavy on that W, so I just want to soften that down. Yeah, a bit more thundercloud, I think. Okay, so how are we getting on there? I think it's a little bit heavy in the background there of that X. So I'm going to go over that with a teeny tiny bit of dry brushing with the black gesso because I just think that's far too heavy in there. There we go. That just deadens that down a little bit. And when that dries, I can always go over the top with a wee bit more. There, see that? That's just sorted that out, hasn't it? I think we're getting pretty close. I really like the K. I think it just needs more blending. So just cleaning off my brush. Let's just clean off my brush on here a bit. And then let's get some pink on here. Let's do the pink first. So happy pink. That's nice. See how soft that is now that you're going over the top again. And this time I'm doing more swirls. And that layers on top of the existing colours. So a bit of unicorn poo. It's great saying that. You've got to have fun with a bit of craft, haven't you? That's nice. Okay, so I think I'm happy with the ampersand. I'm not altogether happy with that number 8 there. I think that needs some attention. So I'm just going over and over and over the gold until I've built it up. The key with this is patience. I don't always have a lot of patience myself. I'm trying to have patience with this. Where's my pink? Let's get some happy pink on this. Okay, we're getting there. And now with some thundercloud. Again, I'm just wiping off on a piece of paper. That's better, isn't it? And this tea needs a bit of attention. That's good. just keep going over and over different areas. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that so far. I think I need to deaden down the background of some of these though. That don't seem that neat. And also I think it will just enhance some of the colours of the luscious as well. So I'm going back in with a bit of black gesso. So maybe I shouldn't have been quite so heavy-handed with the luscious on the base to begin with. Yeah, I think that would have been better. Yeah, because it just seems a little bit on the messy side. Not in a good way. I like mess, but you know, I want these blocks to really sing. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I think that's better. And it makes it feel a lot more vintage as well. Yeah, I think that's much better. Okay, right, let me just clean that brush. And let's stick that down. And then we can get ready for the next bit. So I love the fact that they're all different heights. I think that really is gorgeous. So, whoops. Far too much glue, Kay. Honestly, what am I like? Have we done Q? Yes. Then a little bit of A. And then finally on the 6, less glue is better. We've done them all. I think we have. Honestly. Okay, wipe like that. Okay, now clean brush. Now for some vintage gloss. Oh, this is lovely. This is so nice. So give this a little bit of a shake. Look at this. So this is actually going to dry clear, and this is going to be a nice gloss finish. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh, that is just gorgeous. Look, it gives you that lovely vintage sepia look to it. Oh, that's so nice. It will dry lighter. Then you'll really see that gloss, that glaze. It'll act as varnish as well. Oh, fantastic. I love it. Love it. And if you want it to go over the top of your luscious as well, that will just add a lovely glaze to it. Maybe I should have used a smaller brush. And it will also give you a sort of vintage feel to your luscious as well. So did I say this will protect your work as well? So if you want to put it all over the back of the block as well, that will give you like a satin gloss to it as well. So this is going to dry quite quickly as well. And it's an easy clean up for your brushes, because your brushes will just wash in normal cold water. Oh, you see, that's nice. That sort of gives it that vintage vibe over that pink heart. And it goes on nice and smoothly as well. Nice consistency to it. There we go. Are we there yet? There, so it gives you that lovely vintage feel. Look at that cane out, especially on the gold. That is lovely. So I'm just going to let that dry. And then that's ready to go on the wall. Loving that. Hopefully you enjoyed this project. And of course you've still got your tags and everything to have a play with. And if you didn't put all of those on there, you can use them on the tags as well. But I love that. Absolutely love it. That's gorgeous. Beautiful letterpress box. Fantastic. You'll have lots of lovely ideas of how you can further it as well in your book that comes in your kit, and have a look at those. I hope that's inspired you to have a play. If you've really enjoyed using Indigo Blue, please give us a nice review on our website. We really appreciate it. Thank you ever so much, and see you all very soon.